Hello, everybody. My name is James Schumark. I'm the CEO of the Startup Race, and we're running the Virtual International Accelerator Program. And I'm very excited to have Ash Maurya as our guest speaker on the 8th of September, 7 p.m. UK time. So this is just a little teaser interview with Ash. I'm very grateful that you've taken the time out of your schedule today, Ash, to do this.
Yeah.
But you're not American, are you? Can you just tell us a little bit about your backstory?
Yeah, where do we start? So some of you can probably guess from my appearance that I come from an Indian kind of background, but my parents are Indian, but I grew up in Africa. So I was born in Nigeria, and I don't even think, look from your face, James, you didn't probably know that. So I actually grew up in Nigeria and was there until I came to the US for university. And then after that, just started working here and stayed behind. So that's a little bit of my kind of origin backstory.
Wow, that's amazing. We have a number of people in our program who are from Nigeria, so they'll be encouraged to hear that. So I think you're more of a techie entrepreneur, aren't you? You're a software developer. Is that correct?
Yeah. So again, this is a bit more of a stereotype, but growing up with Indian parents, you're usually given or pushed towards two paths, either the engineering path or the medical path, and I picked the engineering path. So I did go down that path, graduated electrical engineering, got more interested in computers and programming, kind of self-taught myself programming, and just went down that path, worked in a few software companies for a few years, and then started my own business in 2004 is when I went out on my own and did my first startup.
And was that successful?
Took 7 years. So I always tell people there's a journey that many entrepreneurs go through. And I liken the first stage to the artist phase. And the artist phase is a lot about building cool stuff, is I want to go and build something amazing. And it's that I want to create art that is just going to be different. So that was how I spent the first really couple of years, 1 year just building product, the next year trying to make it work. And not unsurprisingly, when I spent a year building it and didn't tell anyone about it, I had a struggle afterwards trying to market it and get people to understand what I had even built, which is something we don't advocate doing with some of the work we teach now, is don't embrace stealth. You know, there's a lot more effective ways of testing an idea before you build it. But that was the mistake or the journey that I went through. So to your question, it was a bit of a struggle in the beginning, but we did find a groove. So after that 1.5 to 2 year point, we got paying customers and we were able to bootstrap and get it to a point where it was successful from a product standpoint. I ended up selling that business and starting the company that I currently run, LEANSTACK, about that 5 or 7 year mark. So successful by those counts.
Yeah, and I see you've got the company t-shirt on, love the problem.
Yeah. So I would say that's one of the key mindsets. So love the problem, not your solution. What I just shared with you was the story of loving the solution. I got hit with an idea, spent a whole year trying to build it out first. And what we now teach, or what I've learned since the years, is that oftentimes is a trap that we fall into. We get too enamored with what we think is going to work, but when we don't know if it's really going to work, that's a big risk. And so a much better approach is to spend some time doing the requisite discovery, the requisite research, to take your solution if you have one, but make sure it's going to fit in your customer's world. And that's the love the problem, love the customer problem, not your solution mantra that we now practice and preach and teach.
So I do know that you were able to recruit Eric Ries, the author of the Lean Startup, and Dave McClure of Pirate Metric fame, onto your board. What was the pitch that you gave them in just a few words?
Yeah, so I guess the advice, I'll first kind of give general advice, is that whenever you're trying to reach anyone, whether it's a prominent advisor or an investor, it's oftentimes more effective to try to build a relationship prior. And it's just like with any relationship. So you want to build some kind of a relationship where people might know you and start to like you and trust you. And so in my story with both of them, I didn't actually start with the pitch. And part of it was because I didn't really even have anything to pitch them when I first encountered them. I was running my own blog. I was interested in the lean startup in the early days. And so as Eric was blogging on his own, I began to run my own blog on Lean Startup, and I was sharing my own learnings, which got his attention. And so he reached out to me, invited me to come and do a guest blog post, invited me to do a speaking engagement in one of his conferences that he was putting up. And then I did that in subsequent conferences. And so that's how I got to know him before I had to pitch him. And so when it came time with an idea, when I really did need to pitch to him, I kind of reached out to him, and it was a much easier conversation to have at that point. Same thing with Dave McClure. I use a lot of his work. So if anyone knows the Pirate Metrics, I was experimenting and like adding value. So maybe the way to take away that is, when you say build a relationship, that also is very arbitrary. Try to help or add value to what someone is currently doing, whether that's an investor or advisor, support their work, even just reach out to them and appreciate their work. All those things are ways of getting noticed first. And then when it comes time to having a pitch, it becomes more of a conversation. And it was a much easier pitch to deliver at that point.
Wow, that's very useful information. And I guess I was, if I was to think about these people, Eric Ries, Steve Blank, Dave McClure, you're one of the few people that have actually built something to help entrepreneurs put the theory into practice. And the number of tools that you have on the LeanStack platform, the books, Running Lean, Scaling Lean, it is like how to execute model. Absolutely fabulous. But I just really want to end there because and tease people into coming along to hear more about your story and to hear about how your LeanStack can help them increase the chance of being successful by building something people do want. So if you would like to join Ash and myself for our Fireside Chat, please do come. You can get a ticket from Eventbrite. I will be putting the link at the end of this video, and you can join from wherever you are in the world. So yeah, it's the 8th of September. So it's a few months away. And so that's going to be at 7 p.m. UK time. But thanks again, Ash. Hope you have a good holiday or a good summer. And we can all get over this COVID and onto pastures new.
Thank you, James. And yes, I look forward to seeing all of you in September. See you then. Take care, everyone.
Fantastic. Thanks.